Lovely to have you here, Jane. Thank you ever so much for giving up your time. And I wanted to ask you a few questions about Havening, if I may.
Sure.
Um, so you've recently certified, congratulations, as a Havening
Trust.
practitioner. And would you mind just giving me an insight as to things like how you thought about Havening, how you came across it, why
Okay.
you thought it might be useful, and how you've started to use it yourself?
Okay. I did a course before Havening, probably 5 years ago, as a
Hmm.
master neurolinguistic
Yeah.
programming through Unleash Your Potential with Laura.
Hmm.
And I believe Laura's been through your program as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
She's a pretty amazing trainer for NLP stuff, but she's very black and white as well. And
Mm.
so she rang me and said, she knew I did sort of like mind body stuff, somatic work
Yeah.
against sort of, and she said, I think this would suit you really well. It's a brilliant technique that you can use with your practice. So I was
Hmm.
like, okay. So I sort of didn't really know much about havening at that time, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of research and I knew you were coming down to Cardiff to do
Hmm.
this course.
Yeah.
And the more I looked at it, tapping into the unconscious, I had quite a good sort of foundation in unconscious mind and um, beliefs and
Hmm.
all of that stuff where we hold on to things and we hold on to our emotions and how we get trapped in all of that cycle. And I thought, oh, wouldn't it be great if we can connect that with the body?
Hmm.
Because it was just intriguing to me. So I thought, right, okay, so I booked on the course. So that was where it really sort of started. So we had
Completely.
2 days in Cardiff,
That's
um,
right. Yeah, it's the
of-
weekend, isn't it? Yeah.
which was quite a intense 2 days, but
Yeah.
really, really good. And to
Yeah.
be honest, I think I would rather it face to face than online because
Okay.
we've kept that community going now. We still all
Hmm.
in touch on a WhatsApp group, so we've
Yeah.
been helping each other along, which has been really, really good.
Good. Good. And so how would you describe havening to somebody who doesn't know what it is?
Oh, it feels like a test now.
It's all right, you've passed the science review, you don't have to worry about
Oh, I sort of tell people that it's a beautiful psychosomatic touch technique that
it. Hmm.
sort of helps release memories, traumatic or maybe not traumatic, but memories that are no longer serving them
Hmm.
to almost disconnect so that it doesn't affect their life in the future.
Hmm.
So a chemical reaction takes place when we start doing this technique, and it just allows that person to relax into a new future that they can start to move forward without
Yeah.
stress, anxiety, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Nicely described. Yeah.
I think, I think whilst I was doing the havening, I run little courses as well, and I really like the technique because of its simplicity in terms of
Mm.
I can give people little things to take away to do themselves,
Yeah.
self-havening,
Hmm.
and which I like to incorporate to teach people just the self-havening technique.
Yeah.
And just that for me was really, really helpful because it's about empowering others to help
Yes.
themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the fact that there's so much you can do for yourself with self-havening, and you don't have to have all of the training to do that. You you need to have a bit of an insight and a certified practitioner
Yeah.
to guide you, but you can, as a practitioner, you can give clients something to take away,
Yes.
keep them down regulated if they're going through a very stressful period, and also to help sort of build that resilience up as well out of
Yeah.
the out of the hole they might have been in, to step out, fill the earth in, if you like, and then build some steps to wherever they want to get to. And it's
Yeah.
just a lovely, gentle way of doing it.
Yes. Yeah.
And it looks very simple, but there's a very complicated electrochemical thing going on in the background. And the framework of Emily and Case, I think, is so elegantly put together that it just helps you get to the root of stuff
Yes.
very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Um,
I was amazed on the program because I was like, oh, well, is that it? Yeah, to start with. And it was like, and then when we were practicing on each other and a certain thing for me, maybe a memory, which was a bit sort of making me anxious or whatever that was,
yeah,
when you would go back to it, where the memory, that picture meant nothing. Um,
yeah,
or you couldn't see it, or it was just black and white, or it was just fuzzy, or it wasn't even there. And I think I always need to prove it myself before I would do it on my clients.
yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, yeah,
And it was like, wow, how did that work? Yeah. And so learning all about it,
yeah.
the background and the science behind it was really, really helpful, even though clients probably don't want to know that. Yeah.
No, no. Most people will just go, "Well,
Switch
are you
off,
going
great.
to sort me out or
Yeah,
not?"
but it just all made sense,
Mm,
with the chemical transmitters and how that worked and why it worked
yeah,
using this powerful sort of like touch technique. Yeah.
brilliant. And how did you find the training itself? I know you did the particularly intensive 2-day version.
Yeah.
There are other options available.
Awesome.
Uh, but how did you find it in general?
Yeah, it was really, really informative and lots of practicing with other people, and I like that
Mm,
sort of connection with others. Um, as I said, my preference is face to face doing that. And I
hmm.
found it was quite intense. It
Yeah,
was quite, it was a full on 2 days.
yeah,
It's
it
like
is.
there
Yeah,
was no sort of like sitting back. It was like, you came away from it going, oh, you think, oh, it's just a bit of touch, but actually there's a lot behind the scenes that you've got to learn and understand and
yeah.
processing all of that.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was quite intense in that respect. But then, sometimes you've got to go into that full on with that intention that this is what you're learning.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was really enjoyable. I think we had a really nice group as well, and it was quite nice.
yeah, I
I
did.
suppose the dynamics was really good, and people were
Hmm.
supporting each other.
Yeah,
And yeah, that was really nice.
yeah. And you had a number of experienced people. You had
Yes, we
Patty
did.
and
Yeah,
Nova came in and helped us
yeah.
out. So that was
Was
really
it-
lovely.
Which was great because when she was doing one on me, there were certain things she was saying and doing, which I was like, oh, right, okay, I can use that. So, just listening and having that feed or listening to how other practitioners or practitioners to be doing the havening. I think you're just always learning and bringing your
Yeah,
own elements with it as well. And it's really magical that you can do that with it.
yeah, yeah. I think I I've always got an open mind about learning from all the practitioners and trainees because nobody's got a monopoly on experience, but certainly neither do they have not a monopoly on ideas. And there's all sorts of wonderful stuff that comes out. Just
Yeah.
ways of implementing color, for example. I mean,
Yes.
people have blown me away the way they use color, really
I use color a
imaginatively.
lot with the body, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's because that's a metaphor, for the mind, and it's really interesting how that works
yeah,
so well with people. But yeah, there's lots of things that I was picking up on and just watching and observing, and during those 2 days, which was really, really helpful. And then the real learning came in the case studies, which was,
yeah,
if I say, quite painful because there was a lot of them.
yeah. There are a lot, But do you, when you look back
Learning.
on them now, do you realize why there are
Oh,
that volume?
yeah,
Yeah,
the learning is in the case studies then, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
I try and get people to be competent and confident by the
yeah,
end of the training, and then it's a bit like passing your driving test. You know how
yes,
to drive a car, but actually, do you go at the right speed always? Do you anticipate well? Do you
yeah,
think outside of the box? Have you got real finely
yes.
tuned senses? No, you don't. That's what you get through experience, and you just get better and better. And
And I'm a real advocate of case studies, even though I was like struggling to get them all done because I wanted it done quickly, but it took me a year, and things, personal circumstances get in the way,
yeah,
and it had to stop halfway, and all of that stuff. But
yeah,
um, I think I see some courses where you have training for a day or an hour online, and then you're a certified something, and people are let loose in the world, right? And I am,
that
I
means you've got a certificate. Doesn't mean you're certified or anything, does it?
the lady came to me saying, because I do reflexology, and she was like, "Oh, I've done a day with this beauty woman in Cardiff, and I'm now a qualified reflexologist." And I was like, "No, you're not." I said, "You've got to do case studies like the Havening. You've got to do the case studies. The learning is in the case studies."
Mm,
Because
yeah,
each person is different. You will never, every person you learn from your clients,
yes, yeah,
and reflecting on that is so important, and
hmm
that's why I think, yeah, it was a lot of case studies, but I think I can see the reason why.
yeah. And actually, the not that I want people to make mistakes, but make doing something that doesn't quite work out the way you intended it to. And I'm not suggesting this is you, by the way, but just in general for case studies, going through that process is one of the greatest learning
Yeah,
experiences because you learn and you get feedback on everything from me anyway on the case study. And if there's something obvious that's popped up and I think, okay,
I
that's
think.
not
Yeah.
quite right, then I'll make a hopefully a constructive comment about it. And if it's appropriate, maybe there are some other alternatives. And so you kind of
Mm,
learn that, yeah, well, maybe that one was okay, but actually you could come in from this
yeah,
angle and you'd get the same result. Don't know
yeah,
if it's better, worse, would take longer, less. The way you did it was fine, but just to let you know, there are alternatives. If you have a
yeah,
different client who would appreciate that better, well,
yeah.
go that route. There's all sorts that you can do.
And I really liked doing, well, I didn't like doing videos, but doing the videos and
Mm.
feedback from that was really, really helpful
Oh,
because
good,
you
good.
you don't know what you don't know, if you know what I mean, or
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
things. And I'm always up for constructive criticism. But I think, yeah, that was really, really helpful. I'd be
Mhm.
like, "Oh, can I do another one so you can do another?" Can you just
They
be,
do take a long time to review, I'm afraid.
can you be in my pocket, please, for the next, so that, because, I mean, when you qualify or when you're doing things, there's a lot of self-doubt on, am I doing it right? Am I following the process? Where is this going? And I think you have to learn to trust your intuition to know where you are with a client.
Yeah, yeah.
But having the feedback has been extremely helpful.
Good, good. Yeah, the videos on average they take me about 4 times the amount of time
Yeah,
that they are to watch.
yeah,
For me to watch, review, go back. Oh, did I quite hear that? Especially when the Welsh accent isn't unknown to me. But if you think of other people that I train, I've trained Israelis, I've trained Australians, all sorts
right,
of different Americans, Europeans, and sometimes you're like, they're doing it in English.
yeah,
So what was that word? And or suddenly the client has dropped their voice a little bit. It's really soft. And you're like,
yeah,
what did
yeah,
they say? And I also do this in German as well. And I'm not a native speaker. I've learnt German, so it's my second language. And when you get a dialect, or just you don't know the vocabulary,
Yeah.
because you can't know everything. It's that's when it gets really
Yes. Yeah.
challenging,
You
and
know,
time consuming.
you know, not many courses do that. And I think that was, you know, really, really helpful. Even though at the time I was like, oh, don't we get to another video?
Yeah, I felt the same way when I did it. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. But
Reflection is, you know, the learning off it is much bigger than you realize.
yeah, I'm really pleased you said that, because I put a lot of time into that and effort,
Yeah.
and try and be as constructive as I can, and not all trainers do that.
No, they don't. No.
No, it's so I think that's quite a responsibility.
Yeah.
Um, but the other thing, not to blow my own trumpet too much, but something I bring to Havening training, which isn't always there, is I've had a much broader background. So I've trained people in leadership. I've
Yes.
trained people in presenting themselves. I've trained people in negotiations and questioning skills. So that all kind of feeds into my background of advice that I might give, um, that hopefully is useful.
Yeah.
And I've been
Yeah.
training since 1987,
Mm.
delivering training since 1987. So
Yeah.
that hopefully builds part of the picture and helps people. How did you find working with me, in particular?
What am I going to say? Oh, it's terrible. No, it was a pleasure, and you know, you're very knowledgeable with obviously and very passionate about havening because you've seen results yourself. I've seen results, and it shows through. And I think if you have that passion, then you know the training is going to be very enjoyable. There's you know there's quite a lot of theory involved in it,
Hmm.
isn't there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there is. Yeah,
which was surprising for me. Um, but that was okay. Yeah. And I guess, you know, having to do that exam afterwards as well. Right. I was like, oh my goodness. But actually, again, it's all about the learning, isn't it?
it is. You know, at the end of the day, you've got this gentle genius, Dr. Ron Rudin, who is the creator of Havening, and he just wants to help people. He
Yeah.
wants it to be done right.
Yeah. And
And
that's great.
when I stood up at the conference last year, I was talking about, yeah, let's collaborate around the world. Let's get Havening out there. Whoa, bit of a rah 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 at the end of the conference. And the first person to put his hand up for any questions was Dr. Ron. He said, yeah, but we've got to make sure the caliber of people is right who are doing this. And I said, absolutely, Ron. Absolutely. 100% agree. But we still got to get it out there.
Yeah. And I think, you know,
Yeah.
because you have experience with PTSD, don't you? Yeah. You do it. You've done a lot
Yeah.
around
Mm.
that.
Yeah.
I can see how you know, that blend and that mix is so helpful with havening. And if it was
Mm.
put into the wrong hands with people,
Yeah.
because very, very quickly somebody can go into a, you know, go to a memory that is not very nice for them.
Yeah.
Having the skills to be able to manage that is
Mm.
absolutely critical, and I'm a real advocate of all of that. I hate these courses where it's like, oh, let them loose,
Yeah.
and you know you're dealing with people's lives, and you know I think that comes through with you with your sort of like passion and knowledge of how it needs to be, and it might feel
Mm.
a bit stickly at times where it's like, nope, you can't do it like this, and but it's actually it's the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. Hope I don't go, nope, don't do it like that.
Oh,
Do you
I
do it?
know, I
Hope I don't
know.
do that too much.
But it's like, no, 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 you know, stick back to this and, you know,
Yeah.
keep into the framework is really important, and understanding and connecting in with the client and, you know, where they are at in
Yeah.
their life.
Yeah. Thank you. What would you say to anybody who's thinking about doing havening?
I would say have an open mind.
Hmm.
And it's an amazing therapy as to put in your array. You know, if you're a therapist in now or in the future,
Hmm.
it's a brilliant technique that you can pull out anytime with anybody.
Yeah,
And it's well worth the investment, it's well worth the time because not only is it good for other people, it's also good for yourself.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of side benefits to doing havening.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think yeah, you don't realize that until you're doing it because you know, I use it with such a variety of people from
Hmm.
family members to in high level leaders who, you know, women who are really stressed out. It's the first thing I'll bring out before we even start. We'll do some havening.
Okay.
And you know, and that's in the corporate world. So it doesn't have to fit any, it can fit anywhere.
Yeah,
So if people are thinking, oh, does it fit with me? Does it fit with what I'm doing? It actually sits alongside a lot of the other skill bases that you have.
yeah.
And I think it's amazing for that. So, you know, if you're thinking about it, just buck on and do it.
You're talking about it being another tool in the toolbox, effectively, which is what it is. My courses and my talks will be CPD certified.
Great.
So people that are thinking, "Oh, I've got CPD to do this year. What shall I do?"
Yes.
Then this would be a natural thing for coaches, for HR
Well,
individuals.
HR, you know, I think
Yeah,
for encouraging people in the workplace to come in and use it as a CPD for learning, for self-help, self-development, um, would be massive.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And in mental health teams,
Yes.
we've done the mental health first aid course, which has its merits. It's about understanding mental health and being able to signpost people. But what do you do after that?
It's that,
Mm.
you know, it's about giving them the tools to be able to help themselves, isn't it? And if you can CPD that they get some points or whatever they get, um,
Yeah,
ah,
or indeed, there's a lady who's training with me in the next month, and her employer, she works for the National Health Service, and her local GP practice, and there's another body which I don't really understand what it is, but they're paying for some of the funding. Um, there's they're paying about three-quarters of the whole certification fee. She's paying the rest herself, and she said, "Look, I want to do CPD. I want to do havening." They're like, "What's that?" So they've talked about it, and they said, "Oh, that sounds really useful." So she's doing it, and she works in a counselling environment, so it's perfect.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. It does fit really, really well then, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Any other comments you've got to make about havening or the whole process you've been through, or anything at all, really?
No, I just really love it. I think it's a really, really good tool that can be used anywhere, anytime, any
Anytime,
place.
any place, anywhere. It's like the old Martini advert.
With anybody that needs it, from
Yeah,
kids. I haven't worked with many kids, but I can see how that could work so well because of the
yeah,
imagination. To you know, to working people, to for mental health, for
yeah.
there's a massive, massive need for it, and you know, I think yeah, keep the word going out. That's what I say.